Disclaimer. This podcast will mostly deal with the relationship between men. If you as a listener is comfortable with this subject matter, please sit back and enjoy the program. Welcome, listeners, to a night of wonder. This is the Two-Timer series, Collective, a collection of different genres created by D.B. Watson, writer of the Two-Timer series. In this program, you will hear a different tale once a week read by me, A.J. Carter. If you enjoy any of these stories, please show your support by ringing that bell, giving a thumbs up, and a follow. Thank you. Breakup. Patrick sat on the bed, stunned after hanging up on Yuri. His cell rested in his limp hand while his thoughts replayed in his head. Yuri was the one, he thought. He swore Yuri was going to ask him to marry him. They talked about it several times when watching a movie or at parties with friends. How they perceived marriage and what they wanted from the other. Patrick could see them as happy as his parents. He so wanted them to be, but it ended over the phone. He didn't get a chance to see Yuri's face one last time. He glanced down at his cell and tapped the screen with his finger, bringing up a photo of him and Yuri in an embrace, smiling. Patrick took the photo at Yuri's apartment in Italy after a long night of clubbing after falling into each other's arms. Yuri took Patrick's cell from him the next morning and made the photo Patrick's screensaver, and then sent the photo to himself, doing the same. "Now I will always see your perfect smile when I'm not with you," Yuri told him. Patrick swallowed the lump forming in his throat while he swiped past the photo and scrolled through his contacts, calling for his driver. Patrick had his things packed and shipped to his penthouse condo he bought as an investment. He never thought he'd use it. When he came to Japan, he always stayed with Yuri. When Yuri invited him to stay, Patrick was in Switzerland doing a cosplay show. He was doing a tour of different countries and almost declined Yuri's offer when the tycoon pleaded his case, asking why his future husband was denying him his company, which caused Patrick to cave and go to him. But then Yuri's work would come into play and he would leave at the drop of a hat, leaving Patrick to wait for his return because he'd already canceled his plans. Patrick boarded his car, leaving Yuri's home for the last time. "Where to, young Valdez?" asked the female driver after climbing behind the wheel. Patrick thought it over where he wanted to go. He could go to the condo, but if Yuri returns, he'll know where to find him, and might try to convince him to give his found stray boy a chance. The thought of that burned through Patrick. The airport. "Yes, sir." He was driven to his private jet, which he boarded, and told the pilot to take him everywhere and anywhere, which the pilot understood because he's done this flight before. Patrick partied at every exclusive club he could find. He looked for men who rivaled Yuri's looks. Not remembering much of his encounters, even declining offers of reclusive relationships. He would stay in the country for a few days to a few hours before quickly exiting on his jet. After his father got wind of his overindulged flamboyance, he received a text. Patrick danced shirtless to loud, pulsating music by himself, while several men watched him at an underground club. He felt his cell vibrate in his pocket. A few of the men told him not to answer, but Patrick ignored them and saw his father's message to call him. He stopped dancing as his high dissipated. Upon the many disappointed men calling for him to stay, Patrick tugged his top back on and left the club. The club's entrance was down a side alley whose propped-open door was windowless with a sign that read, "Below." Patrick breathed in the fresh air while he stood alone in the low-lit back street. Overhead, the night sky was dotted with stars that Patrick never noticed while he called his father. His father answered without a hello, but without maliciousness in his voice. "How are you, my son?" "Father?" He never cried since the day he left Yuri's house. He pushed it all down with men and alcohol. He forced his tears to stop as he finished speaking. "How's Mother?" "Worried about you, as am I." "I'm fine." "Really? Because your flight pattern says something else." "I could explain." "Good. I will hear you out when you return home." "Father, I can't." "Patrick, it's been a month. It's time you moved on from Yuri. Put your mind on other things." "I have." Raoul's silence sent ripples throughout Patrick's body, knowing his father was on the brink of his behavior. "Father, The jet is ready to bring you home. You can go to your condo or return to us, but you will come home. Do I make myself clear?" "Yes," Patrick responded in a whisper. You need to get past this, Patrick. We're worried about you. Patrick's pain was surfacing as he choked up. I know. I'm sorry. Patrick, get into the car, go to the airport, and come home. Patrick nodded as his tears fell. Okay, fine. He was cut short when a hand snatched his cell away. Patrick turned and eyed 3 of the men who watched him dance. Where are you going? You're not done here, he said, dangling the cell. Patrick wiped his tears away as he stared at the men. Who are you talking to? Your daddy? Teased one. Patrick said nothing while he backed away. He turned to run when the 3rd man blocked his escape. Time to go back inside, said the one who took his cell, stepping up from behind and grasping Patrick around the waist. I'm not going anywhere with you, Patrick said, trying to jerk from the man's touch, only for the man to grip a clump of his curls, yanking his head back. Wrong answer, said the 3rd man, ready to punch Patrick in the stomach, when a hand gripped his biceps, stopping him in mid-swing. Things escalated so fast that Patrick was thrown to the ground as the 3 men tussled with what seemed to be one man. When punches were pitched, bodies smacked the hard ground in a thud. When things settled, Patrick was shocked to see his father's bodyguard, Aaron, standing the victor, fixing his shirt cuffs under his custom suit jacket. Aaron assessed the 3 men to be sure they were unconscious before approaching his employer's only son and successor, holding out his hand. Are you hurt, young Valdez? Patrick sighed before responding. No. Patrick took his offered hand and felt the strength of the man who pulled him to his feet, supporting his back. Aaron, where did you come from? Once sure Patrick wasn't injured, Aaron stepped from him, moving to Patrick's dropped phone. He picked it up and removed a cloth handkerchief, cleaning off the cell before raising it to his ear. I have your son, Mr. Valdez. Good man, Aaron. Let me speak to him. As you wish. Aaron walked to Patrick, handing him back his cell. Your father wishes to speak to you. Patrick took back his phone and raised it to his ear. Father? Your mother is here and wishes to speak to you. Patrick waited as his father passed the phone to his mother. Patrick, are you all right? She asked, worried. I'm fine, Mother. Are you coming home? Patrick looked at Aaron, who stood watching the 3 fallen men. I'm on my way. You come to the manor? Yes. There was a pause, then Raoul's voice. We will prepare for your arrival, my son. We love you. I love you both. Patrick hung up and looked at the man who came to his rescue. Aaron, before we go to the jet, can we stop for cupcakes? Mr. Valdez had requested to have them placed on the jet for you. Patrick smiled, still wanting to cry. And let's go home. As you wish, young Valdez. The end. Thank you for listening. This was a short story by D.B. Watson and read by me, A.J. Carter. If you want to hear more of the story, please leave a comment. You can find the thriller series at Amazon.com under D.B. Watson/Two-Timer series, on audio at Audible.com, and Kindle Villa. If you would like to hire me, A.J. Carter, to narrate your project, you can find me on acx.com/AJ Carter. Thank you, and see you next week.